The Long Gone Days of Los Chinchales is a transnational exploration of not only the economic flows and discussions about the commodification of labor, but also the manner in which we depict and visualize the women's communal spaces in those histories. Each photograph selected for my slide includes a kind of visual discussion that I think that the digital humanities offers in exploring not only the politics, but the limits of the formal academic disciplines. In women's history, we don't find a substantive history of women of African descent as tobacco workers. Instead, we find a discussion of the women in this photograph from Richmond, Virginia, working in tobacco labor. So I hope to design and utilize maps to show interior spaces of history, reliant upon both the workplace as well as literary and humanities spaces, that a coming together of these multilingual, cross-ethnic, and cross-regional subjectivities presenting a transnational history that can give us ideas about future possibilities of women's communal spaces.
You can call it reparation, or you can call it restitution. Lock and load is the Industrial Revolution. When I first heard these words in 2004, Immortal Technique was introducing his song, and I had been 3 years into the current project to document economic growth in transatlantic context. And so I've generated now over the last 10 years an Excel file, a data set, that measures in over 100 cities, over 5,000 years, the way agricultural economies are different from industrial economies, and in turn are different from consumer, digital economies that have emerged in the 20th century. What I'm doing here during this institute is to look at the way these 8 urban economies that were tied to slavery, how did they evolve between the middle of the 18th century and the middle of the 19th century? And they tell very distinct stories. And so the data set is not my problem. My skill is in how do I map this? How do I generate this in a visual way that's going to be compelling to inspire people to understand more about public policy, particularly about economic growth? And to that end, what I hope to achieve over the next couple weeks are initially just street maps, ways that I can kind of use the Google Earth to look back and measure what were the original footprints of places like Charleston and Havana and Philadelphia. How were those all tied to the emergence of the transatlantic slave trade between 1749 and 1810? And so finally, the major outcome that I want to see out of this project is within 3 to 5 years, I'd like to build at least 3 cooperative economic systems that are providing low-cost housing, low-cost food, low-cost energy to thousands of families across the country. Thank you.